The nation of Wales is a European nation with influences from most of Western Europe in general, and our surnames are a reflection of that as well. Part of this channel, I try to put Wales for you into a European context to explore humanities and liberal kind of ideas and democracy and civilization from that viewpoint. And I had this wonderful comment here. Colin MacDonald said, "As a Welshman, ought you not to address the Flemish origins of that seemingly Welsh surname Jenkins, given its ubiquity in Wales? Might this be Europe's biggest stealth migration?" This comment greatly amused me, and I'm trying out a new format for you, 5-Minute Fridays, where I start off about something Welsh, European, just talking about it loosely and seeing if I can cram it into 5 minutes. Let's go. I doubt I'll get it 5 minutes. So this name, Schenken, it's first recorded in 1084. In Sirvanwy, Monmouthshire, by the Domesday Book, and at this time you have two groups of this. One in the extreme northeast of Cornwall, which still at that time would have been Cornish speaking, and the other side of Devon there, and there around Monmouth, Monwy. Now this name has two elements. In Cornish it would have meant like the kin bit at the end is a diminutive, it means smaller. The first element's clearly from John, but this may mean slang for a smaller person, and the Cornish would have been, well, I have Cornish ancestry and I'm not exactly a large man. And so we think this name means little Johns, little people. But what's happening here is the Norman French came in. They brought a lot of Breton with them, and Flemish. And the Flemish clearly has an influence upon this name as well. Cain, it meant, well, kind, kin folk. It's transplanted into our country through French. And that flows west, certainly into Pembrokeshire. And then going into, well, Ireland and Cork. And if this name is from that part of Cornwall and especially Gwent, it makes sense. If you're going to Ireland, it would be Cork, right? And the name in Irish, Shinnikin, and Shinquin is common in County Cork. So this name really does get around. And even today, I mean, this is thought of as quintessentially, I mean, it's Welsh. It's clearly Welsh. But not every name in every country is going to be of the roots of that country, because every country is a build-up of different groups. But how did this name become so common in Wales? Well, the prestige language would have been French, and these Breton, through which the Cornish came, and the Flemish, they came through that French migration into our country. And it may have been the Cornish and the Welsh had some kind of different name and they were just given that name, or more likely it was Cornish because we have this testified as being down in Cornwall, and the Flemish had some name that was very similar, and they just were all given the Cornish name. Now in Welsh, it's Schenken, quite similar to the Irish, and I think this would have been something similar in Cornish prior, but Cornish does have traditionally the letter J. Anyway, this is part of our country today, and we have people like Gethin Jenkins, who 2013 captain of the rugby team, led us to victory for the championship when we beat England 30-3 in 2013 for the championship in Cardiff. Oh, lovely. Catherine Jenkins, mezzo-soprano. She is a gorgeous singer. I mean, her voice is wow. She's translated some great stuff into Italian. In 2005, 2006, both of those, she was given Brit Classical Album of the Year award. That's not bad, eh? And then you get this fella. I just had to include this guy. What this guy did is nuts. John Jones Jenkins, first Baron Glantawe. He was the Justice of the Peace for Abertawe and Sirgar, and then Mayor of Abertawe 3 times, in 1869, 1879 and 1880. That's quite a feat. And he goes on to do more. He's elected as MP in 1882 for the Liberal Party, and knighted as a Sir. He then lost to his own party. But I guess he won in the end, because he became sheriff of the county and Abertawe, like a few years later. And then in 1906 he was raised to peerage, a baron. I mean, that's quite a title, a baron. What? Anyway, just to note that the Jenkins have had quite an influence. So was there a stealth migration of... because there's a lot of people named Jenkins in Wales. I mean, it's not an uncommon name. It seems somebody came up and had a few babies. Or was it just a bunch of Cornish people decided they could sneak through the back door into the halls of power through the Norman invasion? Or was it some Flemish settlers thinking, well, if I change my name, they won't know that I have these miserable origins? I don't know. Maybe it's all 3. Because a lot of last names in Wales, actually, are a fusion of several different sources or names squished together. And my personal opinion that these Jenkins are 2 types of people, Cornish and Dutch, fused together, probably through a misunderstanding of French, actually. Well, that's one surname explained in Wales. There are plenty more. But how did I go for 5 minutes? See you next time.